We're going to go ahead and call into order our oversight hearing, field hearing here in the city of Los Angeles. And very grateful to everyone for being here today. And I want to just start by thanking, first and foremost, Mayor Bass. The mayor, of course, welcomed us to host this first hearing here in the city of Los Angeles. And I just want to thank her for her incredible leadership and for hosting us today in your city. As you can see, we have numerous members of both the Oversight Committee as well as from our Los Angeles delegation here. And I want to thank them all for being here. My name is Robert Garcia. I am the ranking member on the Oversight Committee. And I also want to thank the other hosts that we have here in Los Angeles as well. Particularly want to thank City Council President Harris Dawson and all of our members of the LA County Supervisors, and certainly the entire council for their warm welcome. Particularly want to thank Congressman Jimmy Gomez. We are in his home district here in downtown Los Angeles, so it's great to be here with you as well. Now, we are here today because Oversight Democrats and Democrats across the country, and especially here in Los Angeles, are going on offense to protect due process and the Constitution. In Los Angeles, in Long Beach, in Chicago, in Phoenix, in Washington, D.C., in Charlotte, and across the country, Donald Trump has used ICE, DHS, and federal agents to bring terror, violence, and chaos to communities. He has sent mass agents into community after community where they have often assaulted innocent people, and as we know, not just immigrants, but also U.S. citizens. And they have arrested countless folks that are here working hard and American citizens that have at sometimes no idea why they're even being detained. They've devastated small businesses and families. They've held innocent people in inhumane conditions and deported innocent people, oftentimes without due process. Now today, Democrats on the Oversight Committee, joined by our outstanding colleagues in the Los Angeles congressional delegation, are going to take important testimony for the record and also ask some tough questions. I can't express enough how important it is for us to take official congressional record and public testimony for us to have as we advance our work. I also want folks to know that today, the Oversight Committee and Democrats launched our official Oversight Immigration Enforcement Dashboard. It is now live online. This is something that I spoke about actually with Mayor Bass when we were last together here in Los Angeles. The Oversight Immigration Enforcement Dashboard is a dashboard that allows our committee to investigate and document and archive for the public record possible misconducts by federal agents, ICE, and DHS. We already have over 250 documented instances that are now live on this dashboard. And we're working with numerous organizations to also ensure that we are getting the right information on the site. Importantly is that the public can also now submit possible actions of misconduct on the site, and then they're reviewed by our committee, then to be posted for the public. We believe this is the only major oversight dashboard around immigration enforcement that currently exists. And so we're really proud of this work, and I want to thank the staff and the community for working to put this together. And it is, as of this morning, now launched on the Oversight Democrats website. We, of course, are committed to holding agencies accountable to stop any sort of crimes and attacks on our Constitution. Now, today we're going to hear from elected leaders, leading experts on our immigration system, labor leaders, business owners, faith leaders, educators, and most importantly, the community. We're going to hear about violations of our rights and crimes being committed by our own government. And our message is clear. Donald Trump, Kristi Noem, Tom Homan, we are watching you, and we're going to ensure that we get justice for our communities. We will hold those that are breaking our Constitution and denying due process accountable. Now, the American people are also watching. In this country, no one is above the law, and the Constitution protects everyone. The Constitution clearly states that due process is afforded to all people, not just U.S. citizens, but non-citizens and others alike. All people in this country are afforded due process in our Constitution. Now, we've worked tirelessly to free innocent people, of course, who've been sent to different detention centers with no due process. Some of us here even traveled to El Salvador to highlight the injustice that was happening there, to so that were sent to one of the worst prisons on earth. And we'll continue to stand up to this administration who are revoking even legal status for members of our community. We know that this is a nation of immigrants, and Donald Trump is attacking the very identity of our country. Right now, whether you are documented or not, whether you are seeking asylum at our border, or you have been here for decades, you could be targeted by this administration. Let me just finally, before I turn this over to the mayor, I just want to say this is also very personal, not just for me, but for so many of us that are immigrants ourselves. I came to the U.S. when I was a young child. I received the great privilege of becoming a U.S. citizen in my early 20s. I spent most of my life not knowing if I would have a future in this country. I spent my college years looking at my classmates in the same classrooms, knowing that they had a future of work, while I was unsure what my future would look like as someone that was not fully documented as a citizen. And I tell people that when I raised my right hand to become a U.S. citizen, that was the proudest day of my life. I'm grateful to this country. I'm grateful to the opportunity that it provides to those that seek opportunity with their families. And every single person in this country who works hard, who's doing right by our laws, should have the same opportunity that they gave to me and to my family. Now I want to turn it over to Mayor Bass for her to offer her introduction.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. And let me just welcome those of you, my former colleagues in Congress who traveled here, who don't represent this area, but who came from other cities or other states. I want to welcome you to Los Angeles. So to Los Angeles leaders and representatives of immigrant rights organizations, community members that are here, and one thing that we are blessed by in the city of Los Angeles is that we have a very strong infrastructure of immigrant rights organizations. And those community members that are here with or without an organization, we appreciate you taking the risk to be here. And I particularly want to mention One LA who approached the mayor's office and suggested that we do hearings like this. But I want to especially thank our ranking member, Robert Garcia. You just mentioned in your opening comments you didn't know what the future would bring for you. Well, look at what the future brought for you. One of the most powerful positions in Congress that we look forward to you moving from ranking member to chair very shortly. But I want to thank you. I want to thank you for answering our call for a congressional investigation into the egregious acts that began in Los Angeles and, as we predicted, have now spread to other cities. I'm speaking to you as the mayor of Los Angeles and as a lifelong Angelino on behalf of a city that has had a tough year, from devastating wildfires to witnessing friends, coworkers, and family members snatched off the street, chased through parking lots, and brutally detained by masked men. I think of those Angelinos who are detained or who have been deported as we enter this holiday season. Thousands of families will miss family members over the holidays. I think of the economic impact the raids have had. Sector of the Los Angeles economy cannot function without immigrant labor. LA's fashion district, construction, hospitality industries are a few examples. I think of the emotional impact this has had on Angelinos, especially children who live in fear and people who are still reluctant to leave their homes. On January 6th, we knew that we were part of an experiment to see how much the American people would tolerate. This unprecedented misuse of the U.S. military, federalizing the National Guard and sending 4,000 troops here, deploying 700 U.S. Marines, the city seriously felt under attack from our own government. The fear that blanketed this city is difficult to describe, frankly, because it's so hard to believe it actually happened. The U.S. Marines and the majority of the National Guard have left, but the injury they inflicted on Los Angeles remains. And make no mistake, the raids and the terror continue in the city. The raids don't dominate the nightly news, but just about every day, immigrant enforcement actions continue. Legalized racial profiling continues. We knew the experiment would travel to other cities, and it seems the tactics have been more brutal at each stop. During each attack, U.S. citizens have been brutalized and detained, including individuals who are in this country legally, properly attending required annual immigration appointments, are simply going to work in school, have been stopped and detained. Many Angelenos are understanding that they must now carry identification that documents their immigration status. To me, this is reminiscent of passes needed by African Americans in the Jim Crow South or by Black South Africans under the apartheid regime. Congress members, we asked for this hearing so we could develop a record of this moment in history. I applaud the formation of the dashboard. We wanted you to begin the investigation as the actions are continuing to happen. What usually happens is years later, an investigation begins to document, but we wanted to document this assault on our democracy right now. So in the future, those can be held accountable for actions that are essentially weakening our stability and weakening our democracy. It is my understanding that Ranking Members Garcia and Senator Blumenthal have demanded records from DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. This hearing truly addresses a crisis that we cannot ignore. Los Angeles will not stay silent while Angelenos' rights are violated. We are here to demand accountability, we are here to demand transparency, and we are calling on Congress to act before more families are torn apart. Los Angeles is built by immigrants, powered by workers, and strengthened by our diversity. We will not allow our people, our economy, or our core values to become casualties of illegal federal actions. Angelenos deserve justice, immigrant families deserve justice, U.S. citizens deserve justice, and the Constitution requires it. Let me now acknowledge Council President Marquise Harris Dawson, Council Member Heather Hutt, Council Member Isabel Jurado, Council Member Eunices Hernandez, Council Member Hugo Soto Martinez, and Council Member Adrian Nazarian. And I yield my time.
Thank you, Mayor Bass. We're gonna begin our first panel. Our first panel is local elected leaders who are going to speak to the impact of ICE and CBP and other activity on their communities. We're going to first hear from Mayor Rex Richardson from Long Beach. We're then going to hear from two of our LA County supervisors, Janice Hahn and Hilda Solis, who I'll add are also both former members of Congress. And so thank you both for your service there. Then we'll be hearing from two LA City Council members, Hugo Soto Martinez, and of course, Eunices Hernandez. And so after this panel, that will be for the community panel after, and everyone is recognized for 3 minutes. Mayor of Long Beach, Mayor Richardson, you're recognized for your 3-minute statement. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to get this mic. Okay, great. Ranking Member Garcia, members of the Oversight Committee, thank you for hosting this important hearing. My name is Rex Richardson. I serve as mayor of the city of Long Beach, California. I'm here today because what is happening in my city is not immigration enforcement. It is state-sponsored intimidation targeting families, workers, entire neighborhoods through discriminatory profiling, unconstitutional stops, and acts of violence. Long Beach is the second largest city in Los Angeles County, home to 500,000 people. The city built, sustained, and enriched by generations of immigrants from all corners of the world. We honor their contributions, and we insist that every member of our community is deserving of dignity. But since June, that dignity has been under direct and deliberate assault. Since June, more than 50 Long Beach residents have been seized off our streets, people on the way to work, parents dropping off their children, gardeners, car wash workers on their shifts, caregivers walking home from nightly duty. We saw 11 abductions in a single afternoon just last Thursday, very brutal incidents. The most devastating toll has fallen on children, suddenly left without a parent, a guardian, from my community, watching their parents disappear into unmarked vehicles, no explanation, no due process, no information on where their parents were taken, and no assurance on whether they will ever see them again. Federal agents have appeared masked and armed outside preschools, churches, grocery stores, and parks, places where our families gather. No civilian community in the United States should be subjected to a paramilitary force patrolling its schools, its parks, and its neighborhoods. We've also seen incidents that defy any standard of professional law enforcement. In June, a federal agent, drunk, armed, and out of control, stormed into a Long Beach restaurant, harassed patrons, forced his way into the women's restroom, and then assaulted responding Long Beach police officers trying to do their jobs. His conduct endangered residents and our officers and reflect a complete breakdown in the discipline and oversight. Residents who are in this country legally have been tackled on sidewalks, pulled from bicycles without cause, no identification, no warrants, simply because someone looked like a person that they were hoping to find. This is not public safety. This is racial profiling. This is abuse of power, it's trauma funded by federal tax dollars and carried out right here on American soil. Long Beach has acted decisively to protect our community by funding legal defense and expanded Know Your Rights education, emergency financial assistance, mobilizing food and basic needs networks, establishing ICE-free zones on city property, strengthening our policies to prevent local involvement in discriminatory federal actions by city employees. What we see happening is an erosion of public trust. And if we tolerate government power being weaponized against one group, it opens the door for it to be weaponized against every group. So this is a dangerous slope. What is happening in Long Beach is now happening in American cities all across the country. So we need federal accountability. Congress must act to end the use of masked, unmarked federal agents in civilian neighborhoods, require warrants, transparency, and due process in all enforcement actions, investigate patterns of racial profiling, excessive force, and misconduct, ensure that no federal agency is permitted to operate in unregulated, unaccountable paramilitary force in American cities. And instead of wasting our taxpayer dollars on breaking our communities apart, Congress should focus on investing in things that make us safer, like affordable housing and healthcare for our most vulnerable families. We can choose an America that honors its founding promise that every person is entitled to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, regardless of how they pray, who they love, or where they belong. That's the America that Long Beach is fighting for, and that's the America that this committee has the power and the obligation to defend. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to now, of course, thank Supervisor Hahn, who's also recognized for her 3-minute statement.
Thank you. Good morning, to my friend, ranking member of the House Oversight Committee, Congressman Robert Garcia, for holding this very important hearing. And thank you to all the members, some of you are my former colleagues, who took the time to be here to hear the stories of what our residents have been going through. The communities I represent have been terrorized by ICE since June. They hit Long Beach hard this past week, chasing down and tackling a gardener working at Polly's Pies, a Long Beach institution, in front of customers who were eating there. And terrified parents waiting for their children outside an elementary school. They are not communicating with local law enforcement, and we know they are not targeting violent criminals. They're targeting people based on the color of their skin, or their accent, or the place that they work. And they are violating our residents' rights every day that they are on our streets. They raided a swap meet in Santa Fe Springs, and multiple witnesses said, if you looked Hispanic in any way, they just took you. In Whittier, ICE arrested a man walking on the sidewalk only to be forced to release him hours later because even though he was a Mexican national, he was here completely legally on a tourist visa. In October, they grabbed 3 men just out for a walk in LA County's Friendship Park in my neighborhood in San Pedro. When our LA County Parks and Recreation employees asked for identification, the ICE agents threatened to arrest them. And in July, ICE agents were caught on CCTV urinating at a Pico Rivera High School. These agents are behaving as if they're above the law. A community-led organization who is monitoring ICE work called the Harbor Area Peace Patrol has documented ICE agents swapping out license plates between their vehicles or taking their license plates off altogether. They cover their faces and refuse to wear badges or identify themselves. They pull people into unmarked vans at gunpoint and wonder why people are resisting their arrest. This is how an authoritarian secret police operate, not legitimate law enforcement in a democracy. I want this community to know the pain ICE is causing in Los Angeles County. The children who may never see their parents again, the families who are going hungry without breadwinners, the longtime residents deported to countries they barely know. Our Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors has taken what steps we can to protect our residents. We declared a state of emergency so that we can better respond to the devastating impact ICE is having. And next week, I will ask my colleagues on the board to vote on an ordinance to ban all law enforcement from wearing masks in LA County. We need your help. That is why this hearing is so important. We cannot allow ICE to operate above the law. We need Congress to be a check on the Trump administration's unlawful abuse of power. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. I'd also like to now welcome to give remarks our Supervisor Hilda Solis. You're recognized for 3 minutes. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Ranking Member Garcia and members of the Oversight Committee, as well as all the Democrats, and certainly Mayor Bass for bringing us all together today. What we've seen in Los Angeles over the last few months, and what I know will continue over the next few years, requires that all of us need to work together with urgency to support our most vulnerable residents, especially immigrant families. We need to hold the Trump administration accountable for the harm that they've inflicted on our communities, including many citizens whose lives have changed forever. One of the most impactful raids happened in the First District in the city of Pomona. In that raid, federal agents arrested more than 20 day laborers. That's when this horror began. Since these raids started, I have passed over 15 motions, what are considered legislative bills at the County Board of Supervisors in response, along with my colleagues. This includes directing our county council to take legal action against the administration for violating the rights of immigrant residents. We supported Governor Newsom in his lawsuit against Trump's deployment of the National Guard. We joined the Perdomo case, attesting that immigration agencies are violating the Fourth and Fifth Amendments by stopping individuals with probable cause, solely relying on race, language, and location. We also joined 29 other local jurisdictions in a lawsuit against the Department of Homeland Security and FEMA to challenge unlawful conditions imposed by the administrations regarding grants that we receive from the federal government. And we filed amicus briefs in litigation opposing the termination of temporary protected status for Nepal, Honduras, Nicaragua, Venezuela, and Haiti residents. We have to continue to fight this administration in the courts until we can ensure that every resident is guaranteed their rights and due process. Los Angeles County also has a sensitive location policy, and we're working to bring our schools and our hospitals into alignment with state legislation, providing protections for individuals at these sites. In addition, we know that these raids have significantly harmed our local economy, and that's why I commissioned a report from the Los Angeles County Economic Development Corporation to understand the economic impacts that these raids are having on the region. And according to their research, federal immigration enforcement in Los Angeles County during 2025 has triggered significant economic, operational, and community impacts, especially on small businesses, immigrant and mixed status households, and the region's service-heavy urban core. According to a survey of 178 business leaders from across the county, it is clear that fear and mistrust triggered by ICE activity are keeping people from public spaces and essential services. Businesses and nonprofits report steep drops in participation, loss of income, and family stress. Service providers describe shrinking capacity, reduced funding, and difficult trade-offs, such as ending programs or avoiding federal grants that carry risks. These pressures have reduced access to resources precisely when communities need them the most. This month, the raids began. Total visitors to establishments in downtown Los Angeles area were down 8.7%. And in June of 2025 compared to June 2024. I would just like to say the economic impact here is incredible. The estimates.
Supervisor.
Yes.
You just got to wrap up, Phil. Thank you.
I will. I just want to say that we know that the loss here in Los Angeles County is over 840 million to upwards of $2.51 billion.
Thank you so
We have
much.
to have these raids.
Thank you, Supervisor. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We're obviously trying our best to keep the time as best possible. I know we have a substantial amount of community members also that will be testifying at the end. I want to also now welcome and for his testimony, Councilmember Soto Martinez. You're recognized for your 3 minutes.
Thank you so much, Ranking Member Garcia and other members of Congress for holding this hearing. Thank you, Mayor Bass, for your leadership, my colleagues and peers here today, and the community organizations and individuals doing the work on the ground. My name is Hugo Soto Martinez, and I proudly represent the 13th District here in the city of Los Angeles. It seems surreal, but it's been more than a year since Donald Trump took office, and yet the effects of his authoritarian and anti-immigrant agenda have already created a lifetime of traumas for people across the country. In many ways, Los Angeles has been the testing ground for his brutality. We felt it when the raids began here, and since then we've witnessed families torn violently apart, our leaders brutalized on live television, U.S. citizens arrested with no due process, and the illegal use of our nation's military to intimidate and terrorize our communities. In my district, which includes Hollywood and proudly serves some of the city's largest immigrant populations, what we have seen is brutality for brutality's sake. A U.S. citizen and PhD student thrown to the ground and arrested without any regard for his constitutional rights. A street vendor, mother, and community leader held for 4 months in detention as her physical and mental health declined, with no regard for her humanity. A father torn away from his family and held in freezing conditions, fed sometimes raw or rotting food, and his wife now forced to take care of their 5 children alone, afraid to leave her house to get groceries or even to go to work. Our communities are suffering, and it isn't just those being arrested and detained. Our businesses relying on the labor of immigrants are also suffering. Tourism has been hurt by federal policies that discourage both international and domestic travel. Commercial corridors that were once vibrant now feel like ghost towns. It saddens me to say this, but fascism has arrived in America. But we're not taking this lying down. In Los Angeles, we are committed to defending our families and loved ones. We value and cherish our diversity, and we want to make it clear that Los Angeles is for everyone. Last year, we declared Los Angeles a sanctuary city. Our office also joined and has been collaborating with the Los Angeles Rapid Response Network, a coalition of organizations and volunteers dedicated to responding to ICE raids. Through this network, we have heard from our constituents, and they have been clear. They need our help. They need our solidarity, whether that's legal support, financial assistance, rental assistance, or mental health resources. We have spoken with leaders in other cities who are seeing those horrors now spread to their communities, and we are learning from each other. And now, under the leadership of Mayor Bass, we are proud to team up with our congressional partners and support these hearings so that the suffering we have been forced to endure or witness can hopefully inspire others into action, because we need people, businesses, and organizations across the nation to join us and resist this slide into authoritarianism that the president has put us on. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Councilmember Hernandez, you are now recognized for your 3-minute statement.
Thank you, Ranking Member Garcia and members of the Oversight Committee and Mayor Karen Bass for this opportunity to tell the story of Council District 1. My name is Eunice Hernandez. I have the honor of representing 22 neighborhoods, 248,000 people, neighborhoods full of nurses, teachers, garment workers, service workers, caregivers, domestic workers, people who keep this entire city running. Los Angeles is the largest city and the 4th largest economy in the planet, and yet the very people who power the economy are being terrorized, targeted, and detained without due process by the Trump administration's raids. Today, I'm going to share what we've experienced in Council District 1. The first few weeks felt like a city under attack. Grocery stores were empty, business corridors were deserted. I had workers telling me they'd go days without customers. In one grocery store in my district, the aisles stayed empty for a week.
This Black Friday, save thousands. Purchase a furnace with Topline and get an AC free. Save up to
leaving their homes. And behind every person who gets taken is a ripple of trauma that never leaves you. The spouse, the kids, the coworkers, the neighbors, the classmates. People don't just bounce back from watching someone scream and cry while being dragged away by masked men. At MacArthur Park, little kids at a summer camp had to hide because agents stormed in on horseback with military-grade weapons. Imagine being 5 or 6 years old and seeing that play out in front of you. One man in our district, a legal resident with no criminal record, and I want to emphasize that, no criminal record, because they are using that as an excuse to get our people. He was grabbed at a Home Depot in my district. He told agents over and over again, "I have papers," and the response was to shut up. They beat him, threw him to the ground, twisted his recently operated shoulder, and detained him for 3 weeks with no due process. When he told us what happened, this grown man broke down crying, terrified not for himself, but for his wife and kids. We hear a lot of talk from this administration about family values. But what family values are those? Traumatizing children? Sending kids to school in the morning and leaving them without parents by the afternoon? These raids are literally undermining public safety. We've spoken with our nonprofit partners in CD1 who have shared how victims of domestic violence, elder abuse, sexual assault are now too afraid to call 911. On top of that, the Trump administration has slashed $800 million from violence prevention and community safety programs. They are actually manufacturing chaos while cutting the very programs that actually reduce harm in our communities. The economic impact is similar, if not worse than COVID. Entire communities, including U.S. citizens and legal residents, are skipping work, skipping grocery stores, staying indoors. I've talked to lifelong Angelinos who carry their passports just to walk outside. Businesses are losing customers, storefronts are closing, and when workers lose wages, rent stop getting paid, and when rent cannot be paid, evictions go up. These raids are feeding a direct pipeline from immigration raids to the eviction to homelessness pipeline, and a country already facing a homelessness crisis. Our city will be left holding a bag, scrambling to keep families housed and alive while the federal government congratulates itself on law.
Thank you so much, council member. We can just wrap up last sentence there. Yep. Thank you. Thank you very much. Obviously, both the committee and our LA delegation, everyone here just really is grateful for all of your testimony. We appreciate your perspectives and your stories. What we're doing now is we'll briefly pause to switch our panels. We'll be going into our experts panel and the opportunity for members to make statements or obviously ask questions. And in between those two panels, if the members can stay here, we're going to be doing a quick press gaggle in between these two panels. And we'll be moving into that second panel. Thank you so much. Thanks, Jimmy. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and start. Want to thank everyone for coming. My name is Robert Garcia. I'm the ranking member of Oversight. We're going to hear from Mayor Bass. We're also going to hear from our vice ranking member, the number 2 Democrat on our committee, Jasmine Crockett. And we're also going to hear, from Jimmy Gomez, who represents, of course, Los Angeles, and we're in his district. And any other questions, all the members can chime in during Q&A and say anything they'd like. Let me just start by saying that we are here to do real oversight of the Trump administration. Right now, Donald Trump, Kristi Noem, Stephen Miller, Tom Homan are causing terror not just in Los Angeles and LA County, but across the country. We know that over 170 U.S. citizens have been detained without any due process throughout this entire action that is being laid out by this administration. We know that there are hundreds of other migrants, undocumented workers, people that are residents that have temporary permits to be here have also been detained without any due process. We also know that our Constitution provides due process for all persons, citizens and non-citizens alike. We're here because we want to do oversight and collect the stories from the public here in Los Angeles, and we'll be doing hearings on a variety of topics, of course, across the country. I want to thank Mayor Bass for her incredible leadership in the city of Los Angeles and across the country. We were together just a few weeks ago when we announced this hearing here in Los Angeles. And I want to also add that just this morning, Oversight Democrats launched our immigration enforcement dashboard. This is a one-of-a-kind dashboard that collects and archives all information of possible misconduct across the country and collects it in one place on the Oversight website. We believe this is the only dashboard of its kind in the country, and there are already over 250 incidents of alleged and possible abuse by ICE, CBP, and other agencies that are in the actual archive and dashboard right now. And the public should know across the country that you can now go onto this website and submit your own incidents of possible misconduct for the public record and for us to investigate. And so we're grateful to be here. We will hold this administration accountable, and I want to turn this over to Mayor Bass.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ranking Member Garcia. And let me just say that I want to thank you for your leadership, for answering the call of Angelenos, who said, please begin a congressional investigation. We want the record to be established now. Typically what happens is after an egregious moment in history, in the future, people look backwards and say what actually happened. We want that investigation to happen right now. And so I appreciate all of my former congressional colleagues who are here today, many who traveled from out of the city or out of the state to be here. We knew that on June 6th, an experiment was being launched, and it started right here in Los Angeles. We know that this has now spread to many other cities, and I am hoping, and I know under your leadership, that you will be traveling to those other cities, and we will soon have a national record. I have to say that although the raids have fallen from the headlines, these raids continue to happen every single day. And as we move into the holiday season, my heart is with those families who have missing members. We need to keep them in our thoughts and prayers as we go into the holiday season. The blanket of fear and terror continues and absolutely must end.
Good morning or afternoon. I've lost track. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. And I just want to say that as the ranking member gave his opening remarks, all I could think about is that he is the American dream. Right now, we are living an American nightmare. I don't know how many other Robert Garcias right now, unfortunately, are having their parents stripped away from them. How many other Robert Garcias, unfortunately, are being nabbed themselves? How many other Robert Garcias' dreams are dying when they came to the land of the free and the land of opportunity? Let me tell you something. I am here because this is truly life or death. We have an administration that is not only killing people, but is a dream killer right now. That is not the best of America. We are here because we care. I know so many people are frustrated and don't believe in politicians. But let me tell you that it takes real courage in this moment to stand up. And that is why we stand with and behind your mayor, because she knows what it is to be under attack by this administration. We understand that to be elected nowadays isn't just about service. It literally is life or death if you decide that you want to do what is right. So let me tell you, we are standing with your elected leaders because they are protecting the people from their own federal government that is dishing out death. And when I say that, I don't say it lightly. I say it because the numbers bear it out. I say it because we have a record number of people that have passed away in ICE custody. This is not the best of America. I know someone promised that they would make America great. I am telling you that they are doing just the opposite. I am telling you that we are a land of immigrants. It is time to do immigration right. It is time to make sure that we live up to the promise of this country. The idea that someone ran and said that I will get rid of the bad guys, yet we know more than 50% of the people that are currently being detained in custody have no criminal records at all. Zero, nada. So tell me why you are taking those people out of their communities. They are our neighbors, they are our friends, and frankly, they contribute to the fabric of this country. They are what make this country great, not your thuggish ICE agents who literally are spitting on our Constitution, as well as everything that we think patriotism ought to be. So with that, I want you to know, whether you are in Los Angeles, whether you are in Chicago, whether you are in any city in North Carolina, let me be clear. Democrats, specifically on the Oversight Committee, we got your back. I want you to know that this is about doing what's right. This isn't right or left for us. This is right or wrong. And I am telling you right now, this administration is wrong.
This is very personal for a lot of us. If we look at all the members, raise your hand if you're a son of immigrants or you're an immigrant yourself as your members. Raise them high so people, or a child. Here's the thing. We know what it's like because in Trump's America, you're guilty until proven innocent if you're brown, if you're Latino, if you're an undocumented worker, if you are just minding your own business. I think about my mother, who's been in this country for years. She's a U.S. citizen, but her English isn't very good. Neither is mine. And I have no doubt that if she was walking alone here in L.A., she could get pulled over, thrown to the ground, and questioned. When she was in Mexico coming back, we debated, should one of us in our family go and meet her to bring her home? And that's why this fear is all over our communities. Because the reality is that they're going to go after anybody. They might start with the people who are undocumented, then they go to the legal permanent residents, then they go to the kids of immigrants, and then people who became naturalized. It doesn't stop until we put a stop to it. And we know that this in LA started in my district, that it was only going to spread. It was going to spread to every state in the union, because temporary troops today means permanent troops tomorrow. And it's a violation of the Constitution, and it's going to eroding of our democracy. This means something for all of us, but it should mean something for every single person living in the United States. This is the moment that we have to reclaim our democracy. At the same time, individuals that work for Donald Trump believe that they're immune. They believe that they're untouchable. But today, with this hearing led by the Oversight Committee, led by Ranking Member Garcia, we're telling them that you might think you're safe, but we're going to come after you. If you violated the law, you threw somebody down, you were abuse of power, we're going to come after you. Don't think it ends when Donald Trump is out of office. This will not end until we hold every single person that have violated the Constitution and the rights of people in our communities accountable. And we're not going to let that $175 billion slush fund that was for CBP and ICE enforcement to stand either. Because that is too dangerous, not just for immigrant communities, but for the democracy itself. So this is the first of many hearings. And I count on Robert Garcia and all the members on the Oversight Committee and not on the Oversight Committee to hold this administration accountable. Thank you, Robert.
Déjame decir en español una cosa y voy a hablar para any questions. Estamos acá, soy Robert García, está mucho gusto estar acá con Mayor Karen Bass y miembros de nuestro comité de Oversight. Quiero decir, es bien importante que la comunidad sepa que Donald Trump, Kristi Noem y todos los que están haciendo lo terrible que están haciendo en las calles, no más de Los Ángeles, pero todo el país. Nosotros acá, demócratas en el Congreso, te apoyamos, sabemos lo que está pasando y queremos tomar toda la información de la comunidad para poder decirle a Donald Trump que eso no puede ser en este país, en Los Ángeles, en esta comunidad. Gente está viniendo acá para trabajar, para estar con sus familias, para poder decirles a su comunidad que ellos además quieren trabajar. Y lo que está pasando, robando gente en nuestras calles, nadie en este país debe apoyar. Para nosotros, gracias por estar acá, alcaldesa, gracias por tenernos acá en Los Ángeles, y voy a hablar por questions. So I'm going to open up for any questions. I'm going to allow any other members that want to jump in to answer those questions to do so as well. Go ahead. The question is, we talked to other Republicans or the people across the aisle. Have any of them expressed any other concerns?
The only thing that I have heard is when you have Chip Roy standing up for somebody in his district saying, well, this immigrant is different. They're in my district and I know them. That is the story of every immigrant, or many of the immigrants across Los Angeles and this country, where they are our brothers, our sisters, and our mothers. But they don't know a Republican who's willing to speak up. Steve Scalise did this too. He spoke up for one of his constituents. So it's only if you know that people in power now are they willing to step up? But those stories are the stories of everybody. The other one thing I just want to add, let us not forget that just a few days ago, the administration, prosecutors had to dismiss charges against a woman who ICE lied about. They said that she rammed their car. They said that she was a risk, and they shot her multiple times. This is why we need people to share their stories. We need people to take video because people are afraid to share their stories. We have to hold them accountable because they feel empowered to do whatever they want, and we cannot allow that to happen.
Sure, thank you. Thank you, Congressman Barragán. Any other questions? Sure, I'm going to let somebody else from the Oversight Committee answer that. Anybody else want to? Sure.
I think this is absolutely just the beginning of this work. The Congresswoman Yasmin Ansari, I represent Phoenix, Arizona. The dashboard that was launched today is a critical tool, and that's what we want every single person in the country to make sure they're submitting anything that they know of, and we will assess credibility, but we want to make sure we're tracking everything that's happening across the country. I want to echo what Congresswoman Barragán said about videos. This is also on the public to make sure we are out there. We know our rights. We're taking videos. We're taking footage. It takes everyone. But yes, absolutely, this is the beginning. I know we're talking with the Judiciary Committee as well about doing something in Phoenix, Arizona. There's detention centers across this country that are going to quadruple because $40 billion from the Trump reconciliation bill is going towards expanding and funneling money into Core Civic and Geo Group, the two major private prison companies that gave billions of dollars to help elect Donald Trump that are now profiting. And I've been inside these detention centers 3 times in Arizona. They are horrific. I've spoken with dozens of women who are being abused there every single day. And so their stories are also important. There's what we're seeing on the streets that ICE is doing, and then there's a lot happening inside the facilities that we have very little eyes on.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Yes, please.
Hi, Latifah Simon from California's 12th Congressional District up in the Bay Area. I think it should be noted that Los Angeles County has one of the nation's most cohesive ecosystem of immigrant justice organizations, from the ACLU to Churla to organizations that you'll find in this room who have been ready and willing to provide legal opportunities and services to folks on the ground. They are working with members of Congress and, of course, the Board of Supervisors and the City Council here. This is a roadmap that every single state in the country should use. Our folks on the ground understand the tyranny that is happening, and they are communicating and lifting up these stories to their local elected officials. And the Oversight Committee and members of Congress on the Democratic side are also here to listen. We are not the only body. I want to be clear. If you are here in Los Angeles County, if you are in the Bay Area, if you are in Detroit, if you are in Louisiana, know that there are folks in your community who are ready and willing to hear your stories and translate those stories, not only to our dashboard, but to their local city councils, and of course, to their governors, and of course, to the folks in the United States Congress.
Thank you.
Oh, sure. You should know that 3 days after the first raid, I did a Zoom call with over 120 mayors. So mayors are in conversation with each other, especially the mayors whose cities have been under attack. We're all sharing our stories, and I just think it's most important, the protests that have taken place. Could you imagine if no one protested this at all? It is critical that we document. It is critical that we resist. We resist lawfully because we don't want to give them an excuse. What they want to do is provoke people into violence. But yes, we are all sharing what is happening and what is our response.
Congress members, Congress has mandated that the ICE and detention centers report on data about transgender people, but they are not reporting that data. Why is this dangerous, and what are you doing to address it to ensure that people who are already marginalized are protected?
Look, Dave Min, California 47, just to the south of here in Orange County, and I actually represent a very moderate district. I won one of the closest races in the country last year, and just to echo what other people are saying, we are hearing from people across the ideological spectrum who are concerned right now about the heartbreaking stories. And yes, it's happening in places like Newport Beach and Irvine, places that don't make the headlines necessarily, but we are getting raided nonstop as well. And my heart breaks for those families. But as a former law professor, I am outraged by the lawlessness of this ICE, of this DHS, whether it's on reporting requirements, whether it's on obeying the law that requires them to allow members of Congress to visit and come and oversee what is happening at these facilities, whether it is the daily abuses of the rule of law we see on videos and eyewitness testimonies where you have ICE agents attacking and assaulting people in the streets. They are violating the law in myriad of ways. We have now seen 25 people that we know of who've died in ICE custody. That is why Judy Chu and I led a letter this past week to DHS, co-signed by 43 other members, including most of the people behind me, asking for answers on what is going on with the medical attention being provided. So there's a litany of issues right now, and we are not getting answers. I authored 2 other letters earlier this year to ICE, the Inspector General, and then the DHS. I had Christy Nome asking for who these ICE agents are. Are they subject to criminal background checks? What kind of training do they go through? Because they don't act like law enforcement agents. They are attacking people on the streets. They're not wearing body cams. They're wearing masks. And are there any investigations done when they're accused of any wrongdoing? And we've gotten 0 answers to this. My one interaction with senior ICE agents where I went to a facility and talked to them, they just lied to me. They claimed that there were 0 warrantless raids happening in Orange County, something we knew not to be true. They claimed that there had been 0 complaints or litigation filed against ICE or DHS or CBP in Orange County, something we knew was demonstrably not true. So right now, all we're getting out of this administration is lawlessness, a lack of accountability. People need to be held to account. Unless you think Donald Trump's going to be president forever, there will be accountability at some point. There are people violating the law right now. It's the highest level of this administration who deserve to be in prison. And I hope that we as a committee are able to dig down and try to get answers on this lawlessness that we're seeing.
Let me answer.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
And yes, on
Let me just be clear as it relates to trans folk. First of all, we can't trust this administration to do right by any reporting. If they don't want to report accurate job numbers, honey, I don't expect to get accurate information about trans folk. I just want to be clear about that. In addition to that, we have seen that this administration has been very clear about taking away the personhood of trans folk specifically, not just when it comes to ICE, but we know that we just got them talking about how someone will be classified as it relates to their passport in and of itself. So this is why this dashboard matters. This is why the leadership of the Oversight Committee matters, because we can't tell these stories. We won't know these stories, but I can tell you trans people are loved too. So they've got loved ones, and those loved ones need to make sure that they understand that we stand for everybody in this country. We understand that they really should be respected in a way that this administration never will. So I want you all to know that you have a safe space with us. Please tell your stories. I know it is not easy to trust a government that is attacking everybody. I get it. I don't trust them. I'm being perfectly honest, but you can trust us. So make sure that you're using the dashboard that we've set up. Tell the stories of your loved ones. We need to know who's being disappeared. We need to know whether or not they are missing their medications, because they need medication as well. We understand people are going through transition. We get it all. So make sure that you are giving us the information.
Let me open up for other questions. Anyone else want to answer? Anybody? Norma, go ahead. And then after this, we're going to take one more question, and then I'm going to also allow the chairwoman. I'm going to expand. Chairwoman, I'll have you close this.
I would say immediately after. We don't have another cheek to turn. And I think that that is the clear message that we are sending by having this oversight hearing, is that no more cheeks to turn. We need accountability and transparency for all of the people that are disappearing, all of the people that are being beaten up in the community, and every single lie that Donald Trump and his hate agents have spilled to members of Congress,